The Big 12 schedule has been released. I also credit the Big 12. I love the timing. Now, I don't know what the circumstances were in the room that dictated you had to wait this long, but I would tell you guys, just pretend you did it on purpose, because this was really good. This was really well timed. You pushed it all the way to right before signing day, and look, everyone's still standing. It's a fact that there have been 0 fatalities because of schedules being released late, and that is courtesy of Stats and Info. So keep doing it, and if anyone complains, tell them you guys want to secede, because we've got other folks knocking on the door to try and get in the Big 12. 9 conference games. They're keeping it, but they've gone to 14 teams. Did you hear me? You hear what I said? Yeah, they got 14 teams in this conference now. No divisions. UCF is a Big 12 team now. Brigham Young, Big 12 team. Houston, Big 12. Cincinnati, Big 12. Yep. In case you had forgotten which year that was set to kick in, it's this one. They're in. They're in as of now. There are several big out-of-conference games in the first few weeks of the season. Producer Jesse looked at me and said, hey, before you talk about the league schedule, listen to this. And he just starts rattling off all these games. Everything I'm about to tell you happens in the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season. I think it's the first 2 weeks of the season, easily the first 3 weeks. Oregon plays at Texas Tech. West Virginia is at Penn State. Colorado at TCU. Texas is at Bama. Utah at Baylor. Cincinnati at Pitt. Iowa at Iowa State. Pitt at West Virginia. And Brigham Young at Arkansas. All that happens in the first 3 weeks of the season. God bless the Big 12. While the ACC is out here playing all kinds of non-Power 5 teams, they are stepping up here. There was a stat, Jesse, you gave me, where the ACC, I'll tell you what it was. Here it is. It's on the Post-it. So the ACC is playing 6 non-Power 5 road games this year. They played 10 of them last year. They went 7-3. Jim Phillips is saying, please stop that. There's nothing to be gained from North Carolina going to App State. Nothing to be gained from that. Please stop that. The Big 12 not doing that as far as I can see. Oklahoma is going to have a rough landing here. And by rough landing, I mean, well, I guess a rough takeoff, because they're leaving the Big 12. But before they do, the Big 12 put a giant headwind in their face and said, take off against this. Now, I understand that for those of you in the Big 10 who have to play Ohio State and Michigan, or those of you in the SEC who have to play Georgia or Bama, no, what I'm about to read you is not going to be a murderer's row. I'm trying to save you time. You don't have to peck away in the comments and trash talk Oklahoma's schedule. I am simply telling you that going to Kansas, to Oklahoma State, home against West Virginia, and then making a trip to Provo, Utah against Brigham Young as your third road game in 4 weeks is not the easiest thing in the world to do. Oh, and by the way, you then come home if you survive all that, and you get to play the conference's lone playoff representative last year, TCU, on short rest. They get 6 days prep after 3 road games in 4 weeks, including one of them being in Provo, Utah. So I'm just saying it's not easy. That's all I'm saying. Also, TCU did not get the easiest of draws. The Horned Frogs' last 4 games at Texas Tech, rapidly improving program, by the way, against Texas at home, against Baylor at home, at Oklahoma. I mean, look at that November. Texas Tech, Texas, Baylor, Oklahoma. That's how TCU ends the year. Baylor, only 4 road games. Go Dave. Only 4 road games. They only leave the state of Texas thrice. And you know how rarely I use that word. They also get to play Long Island, for whatever that's worth. They go at UCF, at Cincinnati, at Kansas State, at TCU. That trip to Cincinnati, by the way, as you can see, is off a bye week. So I feel pretty darn good about Baylor this upcoming year. Said it last year. I'll say it again this year. And eventually I will be right again. The best week, I think I'm partial to November 11th. But truthfully, we deliberated about like 3 or 4 different weekends because this is a very competitive conference. It's a pretty balanced conference. And with the additions, you have to train your eyes. You look at Houston or Cincinnati on the schedule, and you got to remember, oh, that's a conference game now. But this November 11th weekend, we get Baylor at Kansas State. We get Iowa State at Brigham Young. We get Central Florida at Oklahoma State. We get Texas at TCU and Oklahoma at West Virginia, and all that's just happening on one Saturday in the Big 12. I love the Big 12. They don't call me Big 12 Pate yet, but I love the Big 12.
Guys, thanks for watching Late Kick. Make sure and leave a comment. I love interacting with you. But most of all, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. That's how we keep all of this free.